Greetings, punks, goths, metalheads and herberts and herbetters. My name's John and this is the Health Anarchist channel. Well, I'm just out doing one of my midweek videos today, which I sometimes do on a Wednesday. And I just thought I'd have a chat with you guys today. And I thought we'd talk real and I'd explain a little bit about myself, where I've come from. And just so you can understand me a bit more. Now, I will warn you, there will be some things that I talk about that some people will find upsetting. So if you think you might be upset, don't watch it. It upsets me a bit still thinking about it, so it's bound to upset somebody. So just a warning there in advance. I'm going to tell you some personal stuff, not because I want people to feel sorry for me. I don't need that. Just so you can understand where I've come from. So this story starts when I was about 17. I was a punk rocker, just getting into it. Maybe I'd been into it for a year or so at the time. And I got kicked out of home. I got thrown away like rubbish, basically, because I was a punk rocker. I was different, and my mum and dad didn't want to deal with it. They were going through their own issues at the time. But yeah, I was thrown out like rubbish and left to fend for myself. I wasn't one of these kids that get thrown out and then they're helped and supported by the parents. I was just thrown out, and you know, if I swam, I swam. If I sank, I sank. So I had a couple of rough years just floating around outside the system. They were very dark days. Luckily, I got through those. And then a bit later on, when I was about 19, I met all my punk mates, and we became like punk family. And they became like my surrogate family, and that kept me going. It's if I didn't have them, I don't know what would have happened. I don't even know if I'd have survived, but I got through, and it's amazing that I did survive. I saw so many people fall. Lots of people died who were just on the edges of society, like I was at the time. I was living with punks in punk houses and punk squats in rough, rundown areas of the city. Now, the punk family that I had, most of us, it wasn't just me, most of us come from broken homes, and we all had issues to some degree or other. So it certainly wasn't just me, it was like most of the alternative people and punks that I knew in general did come from problem backgrounds and had had a tough time. But we had empathy for each other because we didn't have our families, we were there for each other, and we'd become our own family, and we got through things. And we didn't always make the best decisions, and we made some mistakes, but it's not surprising, is it, when you think of the difficult circumstances many of us were trying to live with. And being on the edge of society, you meet a lot of people, other people, sort of not really in the punk scene, but sort of hanging around the same places, like people addicted to heroin and injecting amphetamine or crack, smoking crack, or you know, a combination usually. And you had these people floating around, and as a young guy I didn't really think that much of it at the time, except I didn't want to be doing that. And as a punk family, we kept each other off hard drugs, and we sort of advised each other about that in general, so none of us were injecting heroin or smoking heroin or injecting speed or whatever. So just thinking about it now, I didn't think about it a lot at the time. You know, a lot of these young kids, and they were just teenagers that were addicted to heroin, crack or speed, or a combination of them all. And a lot of them died, they didn't make it. And when I think back, I thought they were young kids, they were probably really broken inside. And to fill that massive gap that they had inside, they were filling it with drugs. And it's tragic, and it's really upsetting when I think back of those young kids who lost their lives through drugs. But yeah, there you go. That's part of my background, where I came from. Just seeing the reality of things. Then the other side of it, when you're living on the edge of society, you meet all the arseholes in life. Like you meet manipulators, sociopaths, narcissists, all these sort of kind of people hanging around the fringes, but you wise up to it very quickly. I was wise to that at a young age as a teenager, and you learn about people like that. And you know, I am a kind person now, try my best to be the best person I can. but I'm very wise to arseholes like that, and there's no way they get through my radar. I mean, my daughter knows me best, and she knows my view on those kind of people. And the tragic thing is, through all of this in my young life, one of the people who was there for me most, my best friend, when my family weren't there, he was there for me, give me support, because he'd come from a worse place than me. I think he didn't talk about it that much, but I know it was difficult. And later on, he took his own life, and it's a tragedy that he was there for me, and he was hurting so much inside. But you know, you never forget those people. You keep them alive in your mind and your heart. But it is just a tragedy, and life can be so difficult. And also my older brother, he was one of the only ones there for me when the rest of my family wasn't. And my older brother died a few years ago, you know, and I missed them, both those guys, my best mate and my brother. But you have to learn to live with it. You have to move forward with your life. And it's just tragic that some of the most caring people who had the most empathy come from the hardest backgrounds. And I can tell you, without a doubt, the mental health problems that I have, anxiety and depression, it all stems back to being thrown out of home at such a young age. And it's done so much damage to me. I'm still working on trying to repair it now. And it's hard. So, you know, it's not just me. There's a lot of people that had this kind of thing happen to them. But you just have to keep on in there. Don't let it beat you. Keep fighting against it. Try and live the best life possible, whatever hand you've been given. If you've been given a bad hand of cards in life, you have to try and beat that, and live and be the best version of yourself that you can be. I haven't always been, you know, like I say, when I was younger I made some mistakes in life, but I'm trying to be the best person I can now. And it's important to know that life is short and life is very fragile, so try to make the most of it. Nowadays I try and surround myself with positive people, supportive people, and I try to be positive and supportive to them in return. So I hope that chat's helped explain a bit about me, myself, of who I am and where I'm from. And don't forget, this is my story, and each and every one of us, we all have our own story. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did enjoy it, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And until the next video, keep yourselves very safe. Take care. Bye.